This week, our exclusive interview with Omar Ennabe.
Click on the banner above to learn more about our sponsor, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Welcome back, folks, and thank you for joining us. This week we have a real treat. We have what I call the man on the ground in the reverse mortgage lending world. And I heard him speak in a roundtable, and I was very intrigued in his business approach. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about where Omar has come from, where he is today, and some of the techniques and the marketing strategies that he's using that have really helped him succeed. Omar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Shannon.
Can you just tell us just real briefly what your company does?
Yeah, so Ennkar is a mortgage company, a full-service mortgage company that focuses on the senior community. So we do offer a wide range of products, but primarily being the reverse mortgage product. So yeah, primarily offering reverse mortgage products. So the home equity conversion mortgage, the proprietary mortgages. Our goal is really to find seniors the right solution for mortgage planning for retirement.
Where did you struggle in the past in reverse mortgage lending as an originator or a broker?
Well, I think the part where we struggled the most as a company and as an individual is definitely in the marketing portion. Trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work sometimes takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of adjustments, and kind of perfecting your methods or your marketing platforms are super important. Judging analytics. I feel like another area where we've struggled is also kind of understanding our consumer. So we are much younger as a company. Our average age is probably, high 20s, low 30s. The majority of our sales guys are in, between 28 and 32. So just kind of that adaptability, or, having a consumer take advice from someone who's a lot younger than them is often difficult. The mindset of our originators is different than the mindset of someone who's preparing for retirement or preparing to retire and go on a fixed income. So those are some areas where I feel we've made a lot of adjustments and a lot of improvements over the years. Lucky for me, I happen to work in financial planning prior to getting into the mortgage business. I do have a degree in finance and certified financial planner through California State University at Fullerton. So I was able to take what I learned working as a financial advisor for Fidelity Investments and Ameriprise and apply them to the conversations and educations that we give our originators and how to approach seniors and what seniors are more concerned about and what risks they fear, things like that.
So is there a certain point in time in your business where you can say, this changed our marketing strategy, this helped us close more loans? What would you say that would be?
There's definitely not a single moment. Every single time, it's all about increasing the percentages. We're still constantly improving, constantly analyzing, the analytics, the data, trying to figure out what color paper is, generating a higher response, trying to, see if a more personal approach works, or if it's, tied to a certain individual in the company rather than coming from a corporate entity. So having it signed sincerely Omar, sincerely John. So we're constantly testing different methods, different approaches, and reevaluating what's working and what's not working for us.
So I keyed in on the word colored paper, and in my origination days, I used to send out these ugly, bright canary yellow as the color postcards. So that must mean you're doing some form of direct mail. Speak to us for a moment about direct mail, because I think many of the originators watching have not used direct mail in quite some time. What are you doing, and why do you feel that it's working?
Well, I think direct mail is probably one of the most effective approaches we have as originators. For starters, there's no waste of money with direct mail. So even some of the big companies, and when they run commercials on TV, I've seen that commercial 100 times, right? So they have my eyes glued to a commercial that doesn't really apply to me. I don't qualify for a reverse mortgage. And billboards on freeways or magazine articles, you're going to have readers that don't meet the criteria for reverse mortgages or for senior mortgage planning. With direct mail, that's eliminated. And so the advantage that direct mail has is that we can pinpoint our audience, right? We can make sure that the people that we're mailing are under a certain LTV, that are, are one of the two homeowners is above the age of 62. We can even, find out who's applied for a mortgage in the last 30 days. So I think that gives you a huge competitive advantage when you're spending your marketing dollars on the correct audience.
How are you narrowing that market? Because, obviously you're looking for individuals over 60 or 62, maybe they're looking to refinance a mortgage. Where would someone who's watching today who's saying, I'm interested in doing this, where would they go to get that data?
Well, we have relationships with credit management services where we buy the data from these credit management services, and they are essentially selling the data from Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and letting us know who has recently applied for a mortgage. And then we set up different filters. So, we want to make sure that these clients have decent credit. You can filter it by FICO, you can filter it by age, you can filter it by LTV, right? So the credit bureaus have all this data, and many people don't know that the credit bureaus don't make a ton of money from people checking their credit, right? So the way they make money is the majority of their money is by selling your data to firms that want to buy it. And so we buy that data from agencies that sell the data to us, and that is who we try to target.
Good point about where the credit companies are making their money as a lead generation.
Absolutely.
So now that we've secured the market, we're looking for individuals with decent credit over a certain age, and they're not over leveraged on their existing mortgage. Loan to value checks out. What type of direct mail pieces have you seen that do work in the past, and which ones have you said, I'm never going to do that one again?
I think, again, different audiences respond to different pieces. So it's about repetition. So I think if anyone is going to start doing direct mail, I do think that there are a lot of gimmicky pieces out there that make it look like it's coming from a government entity. I think consumers are smarter than that. I don't think that those work. I think that you should put your name loud and proud on the piece and then repeat it to the same customer multiple times, right? So with us, we put our name on our piece at the very top of the piece, Ennkar, 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 Ennkar. And it may take 4 or 5 drops for that client to call in, but we would rather mail someone 4 or 5 times than mail 4 to 5 times the number of customers. So in other words, instead of buying 10,000 leads and mailing them once, what we like to do is if we have a budget, we buy 1,000 leads and mail them 10 times. We have found that generates a lot more response, and when they see your letter multiple times, brand recognition becomes part of the strategy. And hey, I have seen your letter a few times. I've been meaning to call you guys. So that works for us very, very well.
What's interesting about direct mail, but this is back in the early 2000s, I would go into a home and I would find every other lender under the moon had sent them something, and for some reason they answered, that repetition. You just might be the one who kind of got through that barrier. Maybe because other people have been mailing as well. So it's reverse mortgage, reverse mortgage. Is there any particular type of direct mail piece that maybe you feel has some pitfalls to it?
Well, the more vague you are, I think the more your piece looks like a scam, or the more it looks like a marketing ploy. And again, you don't necessarily want to make a recommendation on the piece. You want them to call to inquire about what solution is right for them. So we don't necessarily, on any of our pieces, we don't say, hey, you should think about doing the reverse mortgage. The truth is, we don't know yet. And we don't know until they call in, right? And even when they call in and ask us, hey, well, what do you do? Well, we do everything. We do traditional loans. We do VA loans. We do FHA loans. And yes, we do reverse mortgages and proprietary reverse mortgages. But the key is not pitching them too early. It's first listening to the consumer, understanding what their needs are, and then helping them find the solution, whether it be a reverse mortgage or a traditional loan or a VA loan or an FHA loan. So that is what I think differentiates us a lot from the other pieces out there, is that we're not necessarily saying, hey, have you considered a reverse mortgage on the piece? Like, you don't really know when you're mailing them if the reverse mortgage is appropriate for them or not.
We don't. Yeah, absolutely. What a novel concept, right? Listen to the homeowner, and maybe they'll tell you what they want to buy from you. It's a great system. When you're speaking to other individuals, so you're saying we don't know what loan's right for you, and I love that. So for those watching, really key in to what Omar just said, because that's, I think, is a very effective approach. Do you have some sort of workflow? I imagine you have some sort of training for your sales team to kind of walk them through kind of a flow chart or some decision-making tree that kind of helps them make a recommendation. Do you have something like that?
We do. I would say we have outlines, and our applications are kind of designed to flow the right way. But it starts off with the most important question, which is, tell me what you are trying to accomplish. And again, most people will get an answer from the consumer that really isn't the true driver, right? So for example, a consumer may call in, and I think most originators might start with that question. Well, tell me, what are you trying to accomplish? The problem is when the consumer responds, well, I want a lower interest rate. That's where they stop. And then they continue to take the data on the application or continue to find out more about that consumer to see if they qualify. Our goal at Ennkar is to dive a little bit deeper, right? So when they tell us they want a lower payment or they want a lower interest rate, we want to know what that means, right? So we'll try to rephrase the question and say, okay, well, you tell me you want a lower interest rate. You're currently paying 3%. So if I give you a 2% on a 10-year loan, would that work for you? Oh, no. That payment would be too high. Okay, so then what I'm hearing is that you really want to lower the payment. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Or that's what I want to do. I want to lower the payment. Okay, great. Let me ask you another question. You're currently paying $1,200 a month. If we were able to lower the payment to $900 a month, what would you do with the extra money? Oh my God, well, I remodel my kitchen. I need that extra money because my kitchen's out there. Okay, now you're starting to find the real drivers, right? You're starting to find the real reason they're calling in. Everyone wants to lower their payment. Everyone wants to lower their interest rate. Those are not the answers that you're looking for when you ask the question, what are you trying to accomplish? The real answer is, well, I'm having a hard time keeping up with my bill. So they're trying to accomplish staying solvent or making ends meet. Right? Those are the drivers, and those are the things that will lead you to the right solution for that particular client.
You hit the nail on the head when it comes to sales, that asking for the why. And, I see it like an iceberg. So you've trained your team well. If they're not just looking at the tip of the iceberg, they're finding the underlying motivation. In conclusion, what would your advice be for those who are looking to close more loans? Maybe just a couple simple business tips. I believe that experience is our best teacher. You've obviously had some experience in growing your business. What would you tell those watching today?
Listening to the consumer, putting yourself in their shoes, putting yourself on their side of the table. I often hear one of the benefits of having my position is I get the ability to listen in on phone calls that my originators are having or that my phone reps are having. And oftentimes the mistake that I hear them make is that, they aren't listening or they start pitching their version of what they think they should do as opposed to listening to what the consumer is telling them, right? What consumers they have or what they fear. So my advice to anyone listening today, anyone watching this podcast, is to just listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and on these sales calls or on these calls, the goal is to listen to the consumer, really put yourself in their shoes, don't argue with them, find out what their concerns are. Before you pitch the reverse mortgage, ask them, have you looked into any solution that would get your payment down? Right? Maybe find out what their concerns are about the reverse mortgage before you tell them, hey, I think a reverse mortgage is right for you. That will change the game for these originators. It will get you more sales if you find out what their concerns are. And then again, don't get combative with them and tell them that they're wrong. That's not how it works. Try to understand and empathize with that consumer. and find out where that mentality comes from, or where that mantra that reverse mortgages are evil came from. That will change the game. It will result in more sales, and it will help you do more loans.
True empathy in the sales process is so powerful. We're not just, people have to know that you care first, and I really appreciate that. Omar, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're a busy man running a business, and you've got a sales team there. I wish you all the success in this coming year, and we are very glad that we had a chance just to glean a little bit of knowledge from you today. So thanks again.
Shannon, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us. Be sure to share this video with other reverse mortgage professionals. You can do that using the social media links on this page. If you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. That way you never miss an upcoming episode. And each and every Monday, we have the latest edition of the nation's only weekly podcast for you. As a reverse mortgage professional, HECM World Weekly. You can listen on iTunes or on HECM World. Be sure to check your email today. There's a link so you can listen as well. We'll see you next week. Happy selling, and come back for more reverse mortgage news, commentary, and analysis here at HECM World.